Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Tsung Kung. Homage to the 16 Dharma King Karmapa. And homage to Master Thupten Dorje. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. And homage to the main deity of the group practice today, Amitabha Tathagata. Simu, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, leaders of temples and chapters, and all participants here over the webcast, good evening. And our VIPs today, accounting to Jupiter Foundation Dharma Sister Teresa, and the producers for Kenny and Sangxinten from CTI TV Taiwan, Dharma Sister Rebecca Shiachi, and Dr. Zhuang, and representative to the council person of Taipei City, and from the Voices of Heaven choir group, Dharma Sister Yizhan and Dharma Sister Chen, and from the line dancers, Sunny Line dancers, Dharma Sister Yenru and Dharma Sister Huang Ting. Good evening, everybody. How are you? How do you do in Cantonese? So Thursday, we just came back from LA, and very fast. Friday and now Saturday and group practice. Time flies. When we went to LA, because the 8 great dragon kings followed us, accompanied us, so the weather in LA was rather nice. Typically, the temperature there was over 100. But when we got there, it was only in the 70s or 80 degrees. And I heard that after we left LA, the second day, it became over 100 degrees again there. So, although the temperature was in the 70s or 80s, we got tan from the sun because we were outdoors, like in Disneyland. We were walking around the whole day. We also went to Universal Studios, and we went to many places in a short few days, and we got suntan. When I was young, I wasn't afraid of the suntan because when we hide indoors for a week, then the skin became fair again. But nowadays, just being in the sun for 2 days, it would become dark, but we will not lose the tan for a year. When we were young, 1 week, the color would return to its original. But as we age, perhaps the pigment under the skin does not regenerate as fast, so we would become tan for a longer time. So age, we cannot defy age. So however old you are, then that's your age. You cannot lie about your age. Saying that now you're 17 or 27, it's hard to say that. So time will prove everything. Today we practice Amitabha Buddha. He has an infinite lifespan. And with the infinite life, that means time. So Wu-Liang So is long life. That is time. And also an infinite light. Infinite life and infinite light are both Amitabha. Actually, time can prove everything. It's no use to use anything else to prove it. Time will prove everything. Why did I say that? So your initial, the initial motivation and the persistence are different. So with the impulse of the moment, you vow that you want to start a spiritual cultivation and attain Buddhahood, but you do not stay committed for a long time. You cannot stand the temptations of the world. Then soon afterward, you return to the worldly life. So although you have the initial motivation, you need to have the long-term commitment. That the commitment to cultivate spiritually for the long term never fade. It's very difficult to say that you want to return to the Western paradise, you don't want to return to samsara. It's very difficult to cultivate spiritually, and you've cultivate for a long time, and you don't have any responses. And they then waver and decided just to stay in the worldly life. So then you lost that initial commitment, because there are flows and ebbs of life. Maybe you encounter challenges or sicknesses or interpersonal issues, then it goes ups and downs. However, a Buddhist practice is a matter of the whole lifetime, and not just one lifetime. It's the next life and many lifetimes. Only by doing so you would have affinity to practice Buddhism. It is extremely difficult to encounter Buddhism. Not in the ancient time, but in the sutras it was analogy that in order to encounter Buddhism, it's like you're floating in the ocean, and all of a sudden there is the life saver that all of a sudden you encounter that. That's very difficult. So spiritual cultivators are like maps, big maps. But the people who attain to have attainments or siddhis, the siddhas are like the flying birds that touch on the sand and then flew back to the sky. And the siddhas, those sweet attainments, are just like the few grains of sand at the feet of that bird. So all sentient beings are like the soil on the earth, but those with the attainments are just like the few grains of sand at the feet of the bird. So it's very difficult to cultivate spiritually. There are three difficulties. First, the most difficult thing is to go to heavens, which means to cultivate spiritually. And the second most difficult thing is to earn a living. It's very difficult to earn a living. The Taiwanese said that human beings have two legs, and yet the money has four legs, so the money always ran faster than human beings. So money has four legs, and human beings have two legs. So you can't ever chase after money. It's very difficult to earn money. And the third difficulty is the interpersonal relationships. It's extremely difficult. It's very difficult to get along with each other. So there are these 8 different kinds of problems in the world. Like in the sutras, it will mention the 8 different kinds. One is separation from the loved one, which means that you are at a great distance from the one that you like. Or always together with the people that you despise. So the people that you hate or that disgust you always together every day. So it's very difficult for people to get along with each other. So to be tolerant is very difficult. So as a Buddhist practitioner, you need to generate bodhicitta. So whether people that are easy to get close to, or people that's difficult, that people always give you faces or totally ignore you, or undermine you, or even defame or slander you. But as a teacher, you need to be able to embrace everyone, and he needs to find the strengths and praise him or her. Not everybody would be able to have the wisdom of Tathagata, which is the wisdom of equality and treat everyone equally. As the guru, you need to be able to harmonize or to reconcile every sentient beings. So problems that they have or weaknesses that they have, or some hysteria. It's very difficult. Doesn't matter how we teach him or her. It's very difficult. So like a cow, doesn't matter. Even if you bring the cow to Beijing, it is still a cow. It's very difficult because that's their personality. It's very difficult to change their personalities or their habitual tendencies. And the gurus can only try his best. So although we know it is very difficult to do, but he still needs to do it. As the result, it would be proven by time. A lot of things are like that time will prove everything. So those who get married, as they walk into the church, the priest would ask them, do you love him? Yes. Do you love her? Yes. So since you love each other, then they would confirm you to be a couple. But in reality, in a short time, and sometimes in a very short time, they cannot get along with each other anymore. So time would prove everything. How long will love last? It's very difficult to say. That's the problem. So the meaning of infinite life is about time. So for our spiritual cultivation, we also use time to prove it. And Grandmaster starts from when he was 26 until now. Every single day, Grandmaster practices and writes, except when I was sick. Every day I write, and every day I practice. I paint. That's a kind of proof that the fact that I could write 255 books, and now I'm writing book number 256. So this shows long-term commitment. So when did Grandmaster practice? I practice before sleeping. So when I lay in bed, I would start contemplating. As soon as I get under the blanket, I start to practice until I fall asleep. I would practice until I fall asleep. And you may not know, there's another kind of practice which I do when I'm driving. Of course, you need to pay attention when you drive. Sometimes when you practice while driving, I pay attention to the car in front of me and practicing, and all of a sudden, sometimes something happens, like when the yellow light turns into red light, and then at the green light I would start again. I can recite mantras or perform visualization. Of course, I cannot enter into samadhi. And the samadhi practice would be done at night, and then performing samadhi before entering into sleep. And every day I practice that, and I sleep really well. And it takes a few short minutes before I fall asleep. I didn't go to heaven as a joke, but I'm going soon. You're going so fast? You're still so young and you're going to heavens? No. Sometimes in our speech, But it's very easy for me to practice, because if I miss something, I can naturally find time and to do it. I can do that. I'm able to do that. Here in Lamdre, it talks about the methods of the body continuum, because it has the potential causal continuum. So because your body embodies the Tathagata store, or the seed of the Tathagata, and then through the empowerment by the Guru and the methods for the Dharma practice, it becomes the start for purification and attain fruition. That would be the methods of the body continuum. And there are 5 types to the central points of this practice. So everything is created by the mind. So this mind is the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, and the mind. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, body, and mind, which is the 8th consciousness, or alaya, which is the mind. Because you have the seed, you are bestowed the empowerment. They are the cause of empowerment, and the 12 practices of the path, and all the samayas. Samayas meaning pledges. There are lots of pledges. And the 5 amendments. How do you pronounce this? So it's to mend. It's like to mend our mistakes or something that's missing. Like during our practice, when by reciting 100-syllable mantra 3 times, you can fix or mend anything that we missed or the mistakes that we made. So by reciting 100-syllable mantra 3 times, you fix it. So sometimes your mind is not completely on the practice. So that's a shortcoming. So you need to use 100-syllable mantra to fix it. So the path is from the coarse body of sentient beings to the marvelous body of the Buddha. That kind of empowerment is called the causal empowerment. So in the causal empowerment, one utilizes the 3 seeds of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas seeds, consort goddess seeds, and wrathful man and woman seed. So there are 3 different kinds of seeds. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, that's with the highest awakening. They have realization and enlighten. And they utilize their body, speech, and mind to confirm or to prove the enlightenment. And they are completely purified. And they are totally awakened. And they are called the Buddhas or the awakened one. And Bodhisattvas are the ones who benefit all sentient beings. They're called Bodhisattva. That's the highest fruition. Buddhas and Bodhisattva seeds are the highest fruition. And the consorts and goddess seeds, that's in the Dakinis. Many of us here belong to the Dakinis. Some are consorts and some goddess seeds. So separately, consorts are the spiritual companion in spiritual cultivation. So they encourage each other in the spiritual cultivation, and they have light. So consorts are different from goddesses. Goddesses are also called Dakinis, and consorts are spiritual companions, and that's one kind of seed. And then the other kind of seed is wrathful man and woman seed. So the first two seeds are the peaceful deities, and the last one is the wrathful deity, or the male and female Herukas. So in the causal empowerment, three types of seeds are utilized. These seeds are the perfect concept to position the outer appearance channels in the body, channel seeds, bodhicitta light drops, wisdom storage chi, etc. Let me explain. So the body mandala, we can say that your body is like a tanka. Your body is a body, and your body is a Buddha, and all the Buddhas live inside you. They're divided into three seats. Do you consider the consort or goddess seats and you practice that? Or you practice the wrathful man and woman or Heruka seat? Or you practice the Buddhas and Bodhisattva seats? There's some differences here. The first two are for the peaceful deities and the last one's for wrathful deities. And you place these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in your body. And we say this sometimes. At the brow point, that's Vairocana Buddha and his consort. At the brow point. At the throat chakra is Amitabha Tathagata and his consort. At the throat chakra. At the heart chakra is Akshobha Buddha and his consort. At the navel chakra is Ratnasambhava Buddha and his consort at the navel chakra. At the secret chakra is Amoghasiddhi Buddha and his consort. So you place the 5 Buddhas on your body, And all the bodhisattvas are also on your body. And your yidam is also in your body. So this is the body mandala. So this is just an example. Vairocana Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, Akshobha Buddha, or the immovable Buddha. And then Ratnasambhava Buddha and Amoghasiddhi Buddha. So they are Buddhas at the 5 chakras, and they are also bodhisattvas and the wrathful deities in your body. So they are separately placed on the outer appearance, channels in the body, channel seats, bodhicitta light drops, wisdom storage chi. So this is a little bit like Taoism, and it talk about the 3 heavens and 3 palaces. Santian. It's the upper Dantian, the middle Dantian, and the lower Dantian. And 3 palaces, and all the gods live in them. Taoist gods live in them. And the same for Tantrayana, the positions of the 5 Buddhas on your body, and which deity you practice, and then that deity would appear on your body. That's what it meant. Listening to my talk on Lamdre sometimes it's rather dry, but let me share a joke. The son told Dad, "Dad, I'm getting married." And Dad said, "You have to apologize to me first." And the son asked, "Why?" And Dad said, "Well, apologize first." And the son asked, "Why? What mistake did I make?" First, apologize first. Why? Apologize first. And the son asked, "Tell me why." And the dad kept saying, "Apologize first." And the son kept asking, "What mistake did I make first?" And the dad kept saying, "Apologize first." And finally, the son couldn't do anything else. Okay, okay, Dad, I apologize. And Dad said, "Now you can get married." And Dad said, "This is the training before marriage, that if you can apologize for no reasons at all, then you're qualified to get married." I'm not referring to anyone. Please don't misunderstand. There's a couple, and every time the wife asks the husband to apologize. "If you apologize, then I'll forgive you. If you don't apologize, you will see what will happen." And the husband thought, "It's not my mistake. It's not my problem. Why do I have to apologize?" But you need to know, once you're married, then you need to apologize. There's no reasons to talk about. I believe a lot of people experience this. A lot of couples have this kind of experience. In order to have a harmonious family, there is an Nothing, you're never right, but you're always wrong. So if you want to get married, you need to learn to apologize. You need to apologize for everything. Even when your spouse is unreasonable, you still need to apologize in order to have good marriage. There's no need to reason or to talk about the reasons. Women are difficult. In order to have harmony at home, you need to learn how to apologize. The dad knew, and he was teaching the son. You need to apologize for everything. So men don't have good faith. The teacher asked Xiaoming, "Do you know who invented planes?" And Xiaoming said, "No, I don't." And the teacher asked, "Then you should study better." And Xiaoming said, "Teacher, do you know who Wang Meili is?" And teacher said, "I don't know. Who is that?" And Xiaoming said, "Then you should spend more attention to your husband. You should pay more attention to your husband." And the teacher was a female teacher. There are lots of things in the world that's beyond your imagination. Buddha Dharma is very secretive. In reality, human body is also very secretive. In order to understand the secrets of Buddha Dharma and the secrets of the human bodies, and also the psychology of human beings, also have secrets about them. So in the worldly affairs, in the out of worldly affairs, and in the they're all included in the Buddha Dharma. Oh, I missed one. So this is unreasonable, but they can make excuses about it. A 20-year-old, a hot girl, was stopped for traffic. And she asked, she was drunk driving, but if I use alcohol to cure my wound, is that drunk driving? And the policeman said, no. And the policeman asked, so where's your wound? And she said, oh, because my heart is wounded, so I use alcohol to disinfect it. So there's an argument for it, but it's not reasonable. So she uses alcohol to disinfect the wounds in her heart. Of course, that's an unreasonable reason. Here, it talks about a continuum. In the causal empowerment, one utilizes the three types of seeds. One, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, consort and goddesses, and wrathful men and women. So there is three types of seeds. to place it at the outer appearance and at the channels in the body. Channel seeds like drops wisdom storage chi. And this is the empowerment for the placement of the mandala. When the Tibetans were painting the Thangka, or the image of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the Thangka is also called the mandala. There's the word mandala, that each of the words represent a deity, or the methods of the body continuum, meaning that it's a body mandala, that the body is a mandala, and then we place each of the deities at a certain position, where we place the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the Herukas, the consorts, the goddesses. And when you place them on your body, that's called the body mandala. So Grandmaster knew how to place these deities in the body. So that's a method. And if you place them on the Thangka, or the altar of which deity, or of all the deities, like say the womb mandala or the diamond mandala. The diamond mandala is the mandala of the fruit, and the womb mandala is the mandala of the cause. The cause for your spiritual cultivation, the mandala. There are many, many deities, and where to place them. The wrathful, or the protectors, or the goddesses, or the dakinis, there's a rule where to place them. So that's utilized by the Tibetans when they paint. So this is also talking about the placement. A joke about Chinese marriage is coincidental. And Chinese education is tutor or private lessons after the official school classes. And Chinese dating is, it depends on the houses and cars. Do you have your own home? Do you own, what kind of car you have? And Chinese travel is to go sleep where getting on the bus, and then taking a pee, getting off the bus. And then you take a picture when you arrive, and then coming home, you don't know anything about it. In the past, we often say that. We sleep as we get on the bus, we pee as we get off the bus, and we go looking at temples. And the last would be, that's amazing, because we are Buddhists, so we always visit temples. So Chinese traffic is a traffic jam. It's not just Chinese, but everywhere we have traffic jams. And Chinese parents is to become cows and horses for the children, and to become the grandchildren for the grandchildren. I mean, actually, it's like to become the doormat, you know. So you sacrifice yourself for children, And then when the children are busy at work, the grandparents care for the grandchildren. So, like me, like at this age, I still became a horse for the grandson to ride on. And Chinese romance is singing and eating, dining. And Chinese social life is drinking. Chinese praise. Chinese crossing the road. As long as there's a group, they cross the road without looking at the cars. I remember someone came to Seattle for a trip. In the past, we had a huge group from Indonesia or Malaysia, and they ran on the highway. When there are no cars from here, no cars from over there, and they ran crossing the highway. That's Chinese way. Chinese healthy life. You don't care for your health before you get sick. Once you get sick, you nurture the doctors. That's the Chinese style. They're not all correct. But that's the tendencies of different individuals or different countries have their different customs or cultures. So the characteristic of a country, characteristic of a race, characteristic of a family, characteristic of the couple, and characteristic of a family or of an individual. Everyone is different. That's why the Buddha is also called the harmonizer perfectly. So he could counterbalance or to harmonize each of his disciples so that they can match. So like for the yogi and the consort have to be a match, have to match. Otherwise they would go separate ways. The same for marriage. So if you cannot adjust and you cannot match, then you would go separate way. So only when the guru and the disciple can get along or harmonize, then it would last a long time. But if they have differing opinions, that eventually they would go separate ways. So in our Buddhist studies, between the Buddha and you need to be able to reconcile, to suit each other. When you experience the response from the Buddha, and then the Buddha can guide you to go to the Buddha land, that means you can match each other. That you need to pair up But without that, it's impossible that the Buddhas would come guide you for no reasons at all. So you need to treasure the time. So everybody, two Buddha school is aging, all the disciples aging, Grandmaster too is aging. But you need to have the guarantee to go to the Pure Land. What that means is that you are very close or very good with this deity. So that means you're matched. So are you belonging to the Buddhas or to the Bodhisattvas or consorts or dakinis or the wrathful deities? So you need to have this confidence. So which deity or which protector you're closest with. So if you pair up with the protector would also appear and guide you to the Pure Land. So Heruka, then you would become the wrathful or the protector seat. If you can have a spiritual union with the Buddhas, then that would be the Buddha's seat. It with the Bodhisattva, the Bodhisattva seats. Or the goddess seat or consort seat or dakini seat. So that's a pairing. That's all kind of pairing. That's the meanings of the talk today. I had nothing to do, so I performed some divination. This is a play of words of Chinese. That nobody loves me, but everywhere is painful. So no sleep, no money, no love, no thoughts, and but for the fat girl is she's not lacking any meat, but she's lacking everything else. And she's not lacking any sneezes. Frankly speaking, in order to attain Buddhahood, you need to have everything of the Buddhas, everything about the Buddhas. If you want to attain Bodhisattvahood, you need to fulfill all the Bodhisattva's requirements, and you need to have all the Buddha's requirements, then you attain Buddhahood. If you have all the characteristics of Bodhisattvas, then you become Bodhisattva. If you have the characteristic of consorts, then you are consort, absolutely. Or dakinis, or goddesses. If you have the qualification to become a dakinis, then you are dakini. The same for protectors. All the same. So what does your body have? You need to confirm them yourself. You need to confirm your own yidam, which deity you're closest with. The one that you have the closest affinity, that's your yidam. And with your lineage root guru or your guru, sometimes you have so many gurus. Which guru you're closest with, that would be your lineage root guru. And protector, which protector you're closest with, or having the closest affinity, that you like to be together, then that would be your protector. It's very simple. A woman went to the shop to buy mooncake and asked, "Are these mooncakes imported?" And the boss was very impatient. Imported in Chinese also sound like entering into mouth. Of course, it's entering into mouth. Uh, is there any mooncake that enter into the nose? That's a joke. I've told this joke before. Someone went to the noodle shop and ordered a beef noodle soup. And then he used the chopsticks to pick on the noodle, but there's only noodle and soup and no beef at all. So he asked the boss, "How come there's no beef inside the beef noodle soup?" And the boss said adamantly, "Is there sun in the sun cake?" There's no sun inside the sun cake, and there's no moon inside the moon cake, and there's no wife inside the wife cake. It's just a name. It's false. It's made up. So you need to know that the Saha world is also false. It's fake. But your spiritual cultivation make use of the false to become the truth, to become real, from the false to become real. Because you use the false body to become the authentic or the real Dharma. So to use the false body to cultivate spiritually, to prove the real Buddha nature. The boss asked the employee, "So how is your performance?" Since Manager Huang came on board, the employees' drowsiness have decreased. That's good. That's a good sign. How did he do it? Because his snort was so loud that nobody else could fall asleep. It's normal to feel sleepy, because when I was at the map factory in Taichung working, everybody was drawing the maps. From the survey or from the aerial photos. But at noon, everybody just stood on the boards and fell asleep. And our leader was very conscientious. But he didn't want to offend the survey engineers. I was a survey engineer then. We were taking afternoon naps during work. And he walked by, he didn't say anything. He just tapped on the desk. And then that person would wake up, and then the next person, and then the next person. So he tapped rows by rows. I work at the the department with no uniforms, and then the leader just tapped on the desks of everyone, and then everybody woke up and started to work. But there's some people who fell back asleep after he woke up. He wasn't angry, he just tapped on the desk. So our leader was nice. Not that like that manager that snore so loudly. So human beings have their own habitual tendencies that you need to diminish yourself. That in meditation or contemplation, there's this principle that when you feel really drowsy, then you need to keep your spirit up. Because if you don't hold it, then you would fall asleep. And then there's some people who are hyper. They cannot enter into samadhi. So at this time, you need to relax. So meditation is actually harmonizing. So if you're too anxious, then you have to relax. But if you're too relaxed, you're falling asleep, then you need to lift up. And then if you harmonize it just right, then you enter into meditation. So meditation too is like harmonizing. So you become the great masters of harmonizer. So if you're falling asleep or you're too awake, then you can decide if you want to be awake, or you can be awake. If you want to enter the meditation, you can enter the meditation. If you want to fall asleep, you fall asleep. So you balance, you adjust yourself. So it's the same with a spiritual cultivation. If you succeed in that, then you become the master of the harmony or harmonizer. That's all for the today's talk. Namani Pemi Hum.